I don't know what the fuck, but let's... Hello, I'm Terry Gilliam, and these are the tracks that changed my life. At least that's what we're supposed to be talking about, but probably I will wander off into areas that didn't have anything to do with my life. But stay tuned. Now, as memory comes floating back, my childhood rears itself up, and I think the first song I remember was "When You Wish Upon a Star, Makes No Difference Where You Are." And it was Cliff Edwards singing "When You Wish Upon a Star." That's from Pinocchio. One of my first and most favorite films of all my life. And I suppose I've been dreaming about that song forever. And I still think when I see the stars at night, that song comes into my head. And maybe it's not so much about dreaming, but inspiration, what it takes to inspire you, to then get you to go off and do interesting things in your life. The first song that really, I remember hitting me, I was sitting in my car or driving in my car in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, and on came this song that was unlike anything I had heard up to that point. I'd been listening to rock around the clock, Bill Haley, all rock and roll stuff, and then came "Since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel." I'll be just so lonely, baby. Well, I'm so lonely. What an extraordinary song. I mean, Elvis, it conjured up such wonderful memories of seedy hotels in the heart of cities of America where heartbreak had led people to. And I thought, what an amazing, because it wasn't just about the music, it wasn't just about the voice, it was about the imagery it created in my head. And I thought, that's a place I don't want to ever go. I thought that's what encouraged me to run away from central LA and head off to glorious fantasy worlds like London. Obviously, life in Los Angeles was car-based, because all the important song moments of my life were in my car. And I remember I was in college, and I was sitting outside the university in my car, and on came this song, "I Want to Hold Your Hand." And I said, what? The sound was very unlike anything I had heard before, the voices. And I said, what is this? And I found out later it was a song by a group called the Beatles, or the Beatles. And that was a huge leap. Suddenly I became this musical Anglophile, and the Beatles were just leading the way. You lead from the Beatles into the Stones. Actually, I had to go through Herman's Hermits and the Dave Clark Five to get to the Stones sometimes. But there was this huge invasion of music, of sound from Little Britain. And it just made me say, I've got to go there. I've got to get there somehow. I want to be part of whatever that is. And by 1967, I was on my way permanently to London. And so there I was. Within a very short while, I suddenly found myself involved with a group of people who were doing a children's show called Do Not Adjust Your Set. Do Not Adjust Your Set. I'll say that with my teeth in. And Mike Palin, Terry Jones, Eric Idle, the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band was there. And although the Bonzos that never made it into Python, the rest of us did become Python. The one connection with the Bonzos and Python, of course, was Neil Innes, who sadly has just died. And Neil was one of the most wonderful people on the planet. I mean, his music was beautiful. His mind was wonderful because he was interested in everything. He was concerned about society. He was concerned about humor. He was incredibly funny. We, in fact, Neil and I were roommates sharing the same dressing room during the Python tours of Canada and the UK. So we became very close, and his recent death has been a terrible shock. There is a song of his I would like you to play it if you could. It's called Lie Down and Be Counted. It was one of his little political protest songs. It's so sweet and so much about an England that doesn't seem to exist anymore. But it was the England I came to and wanted to be part of.
Lie down and be counted. Don't take any more.
I mean, having been out in LA in the 60s, in the midst of this musical revolution that was going on then, I think the next stage, the major changes started at least affecting me musically, was David Bowie. David Bowie was just breathtaking because his persona as Ziggy Stardust was quite extraordinary. And there's David, totally androgynous. Where is he going? What is he doing? He was playing. And that's what I enjoyed the most, was to see people playing and playing with the ideas of what they could be or not be. And his music was just spectacular. For David Bowie, let's just do China Girl. It's a great dance tune, and it's wonderful to listen to.
I could escape this feeling with my China girl.
The people now that inspire me musically is Arcade Fire and Arctic Monkeys. The A's. We don't go beyond the A's, just stick with the A's. One I've always loved is from the Suburbs, Modern Man. I just think there's something about that song that just captured me. I love Arcade Fire. I got to be involved with them as a group. I did a little concert at Madison Square Garden. And actually, when I was on tour with them, I demanded that they kept playing it each show because I wanted to see it. I love The Suburbs as an album. I think it's a great album because there's another song there, We Used to Wait, which I love because it is about the time before the internet and emails, a time when you'd have to send a postcard or a letter, and it would take time. It would go out, you didn't know whether it had been received, you would wait for a response, and the waiting was what was interesting, what made life sort of full of expectation and interest. And I thought that was such a smart song. Arctic Monkeys just keep surprising me. Their latest album, which I think a lot of people didn't like, I think is an amazing album because, again, they're not afraid to take chances, to shift and move. So many artists have just become stuck in a rut because that's what works, and let's just stay there. For me, it's to keep expanding and surprising.
Protest song.
There's another song that I'd like to just do, and it's in a film I made, which is called Zero Theorem. The end song of it is by Karen Souza. It's called Creep. I mean, it's a song Radiohead did, but her version of it is so wonderful because it's sultry and sad. Well, if you enjoyed this video, which I certainly have, because I'm a lonely man with nothing else to do but sit and talk to people like you, well, if you enjoyed it, why don't you subscribe to Radio X? They need the money. I don't. That was I don't know what the fuck, but let's...
Radio X.